Have you ever played a game that made you feel different? Because I certainly have. Because the last time it happened was with PT's Silent Hill. So I have been searching for a game that could give me this same feeling, and FNAF Into Pit is almost that. What makes a horror game truly unforgettable? Is it the jump scares, the eerie atmosphere, or the story that lingers long after you turned off your screen? Final Fantasy Freddy's Into Pit manages to excel in all these areas, and today we're going to dive into exactly how it succeeds at the horror, except some important flaws. Let's start with one of the most effective elements of horror, false security. Into the Pit nails this right from the start. When Oswald first climbs into the ball pit, it's just another innocent curiosity. He gets taken to the past where the pizzeria is new and full of life. We get this sense of security that is ultimately ruined once we decide to play hide and seek. The lights turn off and you see Springtrap moving across your screen filling the atmosphere with dread and despair. The moment Oswald sees what the past is truly about, the nostalgic comfort is ripped away and what was once familiar becomes terrifyingly foreign. And it's not just the setting that plays with your mind, it's another type of horror too, the no one believes you horror. Yeah, I made that up, but you get the gist of it. Oswald tries to persuade his mother that it isn't his dad, and it's an animatronic taking his place. But he's not believed. That's when you see a pop-up saying Oswald's house. Day 1. You quickly realize you're going to be spending more nights surviving with nothing except sound to throw him off. It's a terrifying night, and I suggest you play it for yourself. Going around the house not knowing what's behind the door. It's an effective type of horror. There is this one moment in the game I want to talk about. When you return back into the ball pit, you hear a faint crying in the background. When I heard this, I immediately thought of the crying child, but quickly squashed that theory because it's a stupid ass theory. Anyways, when you move down the corridor, you see a child trapped in an exoskeleton. You can't help him because you need a screwdriver to loosen it. While I was talking to him, I couldn't shake the feeling that Springtrap might emerge anytime and chase me. I could never pinpoint when a jump scare would happen, except for one or two obvious ones. As you navigate the two timelines, the game continually builds on this tension. Each time you go back in time, the sense of unease grows in you. You're constantly aware that something is wrong, but you can't quite put your finger on it until it's too late. The past is supposed to be a place of memories, but Into the Pit is a trap, full with horrors that were hidden in plain sight. This manipulation of time and setting creates an ever-present dread that keeps you on the edge. And then there's the animatronics themselves. In most FNAF games you're stationary, relying on limited movement and camera feeds to protect yourself. But in FNAF Into Pit, you're out there, in the thick of it. The game gets extremely on your nerves when you see that Freddy and the gang are gone from the podium, realizing that Springtrap isn't the only one you need to worry about. There's also minigames that you can play. There's definitely some secrets in these minigames, but I couldn't find them. I know that Markiplier played them a lot. The sound design is also another important aspect in the game. When you find yourself in Oswald's house at night, there's a soundbar that you can use to your advantage or be used against you. Your dad is always hiding, and if you make too much noise, he will find you. But you can also use it to your advantage by turning on a blender, for example, to make noise that confuses the animatronic. Golden Bunny is an animatronic that stands out in the audio aspect. He makes horrid sounds when you meet him, like it's air bleeding. Talking about air bleeding, Phone Guy makes a return in this game. We first meet him in the pizzeria where he randomly calls you on the blue phone. He doesn't say much important, but it's fun that he's in the game. So how does Final Fantasy Freddy's Into Pit succeed at horror? It's not just the jump scares or the creepy animatronics, it's the way the game manipulates your sense of safety. The game plays on deeply personal fears and leaves you questioning what's real and what's not. The horror here is layered, complex, and above all, unforgettable. But perhaps the most terrifying element of all is the slow realization of the truth. Oswald's father might really be Springtrap. The horror here is not just in the physical threat, but in the emotional too, something you can't understand or control. It's a fear rooted deep in our psyche, and Into the Pit uses it to devastating effects. The reason the game is almost a masterpiece is because of its ending. If you're not aware of the ending, it's really similar to the ending in FNAF Security Breach. What happens is that you manage to save your dad, but you get caught by Springtrap and dragged into the pit again. Suddenly, the graphics are switched to drawings, and the last scene is you looking up at Springtrap, taking your final gaze. The ending can be quite noble of how you saved your dad but at the cost of your life, but it just doesn't sit right with me. I was surprised when the game suddenly ended. I felt unsatisfied. I know of course that there are multiple endings, but this ending is what most people will experience, and therefore is what I will judge the final moments of this game of. And that is why FNAF Into Pit is almost a masterpiece.